What up, Phenom? Huh. Got another one, and another one, and another one. Never mind, never mind. Time I spent talking, there's no Kevin Federline. Thought I would never shine. I pulled up in Beamers and Bentleys 11 times. Plus I was never signed. I hope all I see is this green if I'm ever blind. Cause I done seen every sign. Bullets, crime, and invention, potentials crossed every line. That caused me to sober up. See my young boys get high pitching pies, they was old as us.
So we are here today with Dr. Lajoyce Brookshire.
Hey, y'all.
Why don't you tell the people what you do?
Hi, everyone. I am a naturopathic doctor, and that is a doctor who uses no medicine, but uses everything in nature to help people well.
As well as a host on Sirius XM's Ask the Good Doctor.
Ask the Good Doctor.
Right? So every Sunday, people are able to go to Ask the Good Doctor and hear her give them a bunch of information on how to stay healthy and aligned. I wanted to do something different.
All right. That
Right?
works out.
So tell the people about your book, the book that you put out a few years ago.
It's called Faith Under Fire, Betrayed by a Thing Called Love, and it's a memoir about a segment of my life of when I was married to a man who had full-blown AIDS and didn't tell me, and how I'm negative. Hallelujah.
Thank God for that.
Thank God.
Right?
For that.
So I actually wanted to kind of dig back into the crates and go into that a little bit because I wanted to kind of pick your brain about how that affected you. Take me back to that time. Take me back to the day that you took your husband to the hospital and the doctor tells you or says in front of you that he has AIDS.
We left the house on a Monday morning after staying up all night on Sunday because he didn't want to go to the hospital on a Sunday. He said the better doctors were at the hospital and worked 9 to 5. And so he refused to go to the hospital when he should have gone Sunday night. So Monday morning we left our brownstone that looked like this and we went to the hospital and they admitted him. The African doctor scooted his chair real close to him and said, "Has anyone ever said to you that you have HIV?" And he freaked out. "Why would you say that? You say you're one of the best doctors, blah, 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 blah." So I'm sitting there like, why would he ask him that?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until 40 days later.
It was 40 days.
Did they call me in while he was still in the hospital for 40 days to tell me that he had AIDS.
What was going through your mind at this very moment? Like, was there a anxiety attached to that situation?
Oddly enough, at that time when they told me he had AIDS, I had an incredible peace. And what I did was I rolled up my sleeve and I went over to the doctor. I said, "Who's taking my blood and telling me that I'm negative?" And then he looked at the nurse and I went over to her, "Are you taking my blood and telling me I'm negative?" And he said, "No, we're not taking your blood today." And I said, "Why not?" He said, "Well, because there needs to be an education piece that goes on from here." And I said, "Let me say something to you. I think that you just told me that my husband has a T-cell count of 4.
Wow.
That means clinically dead, y'all. And I think that you just told me that my husband has full-blown AIDS. It's no way in the world I'm leaving this hospital and y'all not taking my blood today." And then the nurse says she's traumatized. The doctor said, "I know. I tell you what, don't take my blood. I'm going down to the Department of Health and I'm going to tell them that my husband has full-blown AIDS and the hospital refused to take my blood. They will take my blood." And I started gathering my stuff. Honey, they started spinning around. They didn't know what to do with that information. I had to clown in there that day. I had to protest.
Just to get what you
right.
needed and deserved
and
for
I
your
was
health
alone,
purposes.
so I had to be an advocate for myself.
Very important.
If nothing else resonates with you about what I've said just here, I want it to resonate for you that you must always be an advocate for what you know to be your best interest.
did they have a time where they didn't know whether you were or not? Like, was there a window?
Yes.
And how was that for your loved ones?
That window was crazy. The window between when I found out that he was positive, between my knowing that I was negative, was 3 grueling weeks. We're talking 1990.
Yeah.
The only people I told was my best friend in the whole wide world and my parents. That's it.
And how did your friend respond?
My best friend, she was like, I'm on the next plane.
Nice.
My parents freaked out. My
Hey,
father
baby
said,
girl.
My father said, pack your shit. I'm on my way. The worst thing that I did was I told my mother to call a family meeting with my brother. My mother said it was all she could do to keep those boys out the car. Coming to New York to handle him.
He was already handled.
He was already.
He was already handled.
He was indeed.
But I mean, I get that frustration. I get that anger, that worry, that anxiety that comes along with that time frame when someone takes your choice away from you.
That's correct. That's exactly what happened. My choice was taken.
So I had a conversation with someone else who kind of had a similar situation, and she, for the first time, was able to say out loud, after having this experience, she felt a level of homophobia when it came to the males.
Oh, yeah. I could have dealt with it more if he would have stood in his truth. I didn't know he was on the down low until he was dead.
Mm-hmm.
I was not homophobic at all. He was the homophobic one. That's a classic sign. Well, pretending to be homophobic, should I say.
Yeah, well, I don't think it's pretending. I think it actually is. Like, he's not okay with who he is, and so it's showing outward. He's projecting.
Right. Trying to show me that he didn't want my gay friends around us, because my gay friends coming around more often would have piqued his card.
So
that would have tipped his hand, and so he didn't want that.
I bet.
That traumatizing situation showed up as untrustworthy. I was not trusting of many people at all. I was very leery. I proceeded with caution. Now, you should proceed with caution anyway, just let me say that. However, I mean, I adopted some things that I put into my toolkit to make sure that I was safe.
Mm-hmm.
And then what I did was I wrote the book and gave everyone else the tools that I had learned.
I'm hoping that it's not happening as often today, because there is a lot more open-mindedness when it comes down to sexuality. So I'm hoping that more people are getting a lot more courageous, in regard to not worrying about what people think about who they are.
Okay, so
and standing in their truth.
Well, let's talk about that, because here's the deal. If statistics were showing that what you say, your hope, then we wouldn't really need to really have this conversation.
Well, statistics are really speaking more on the you seeing the outcome of fluidity, not necessarily the outcome of down low.
No, but not just that, because if you take polls of women who are in heterosexual relationships, it's still prevalent.
Well, it's prevalent. It's still prevalent. I'm not saying it's not prevalent. I'm saying that in regard to passing on disease, it's just a level of lack of loyalty that is taken over, and not enough communication as well.
Well, the down low is about being disloyal.
Absolutely.
No doubt.
But that's not the only way to be disloyal.
Absolutely. But I will tell you this, is that women are still contacting me as if it was yesterday. And that is what gives me pain.
That gives me pain as well. This was a great conversation. I'm happy you came through.
I'm so glad to have been here. So if I want people to be able to read the book, Faith Under Fire.
Absolutely. Tell them where to get it.
Yeah, you can get it at Amazon.com, wherever books are sold.